The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Pauline Verzosa. China has once again harassed Philippine vessels in two separate incidents in the West Philippine Sea this week. The details in this report by Kyla Macantan.
At 6:30 a.m. on Wednesday, December 4, China turned its water cannon on BRP Datu Pagbuaya, a vessel of the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. The BFAR ship was at sail 16 nautical miles from Scarborough Shoal. In this drone video, a Chinese Coast Guard vessel can be seen chasing the much smaller boat of the Philippines.
10 meters!
While bombarding the BFAR vessel with water, Beijing's ship closed in. In another video, the crew of BFAR can be heard barking instructions at each other, a way to steer clear of China's attacks.
Banti, tirahan yung radar. Banti mo pa, tirahan yung radar.
But the Filipino ship carried on with its routine maritime patrol of Scarborough. But moments later, the CCG became more aggressive.
Collision! Collision!
The Chinese deliberately sideswiped BRP Datu Pagbuaya. From the air, the aggression at sea was more evident. The Chinese Coast Guard ship rammed the starboard side or right portion of the BFAR vessel. At one point, the Philippine ship looked like it was being dragged from the force of the attack. The impact was so powerful, the friction of steel on steel can be heard. The CCG boat also sustained deep scratches when it was all over. But this is not the end of the story. In another incident on the same day, the Chinese also rammed a BFAR vessel off Escoda Shoal. The railings of BRP Datu Romapenet was flattened by the collision. According to the National Maritime Council, President Bongbong Marcos is disturbed over Beijing's recent illegal actions in the Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone.
The president actually already knows the incident, no? And of course, he expressed his concern dahil bakit may ganito na naman nangyari, no? Merong nga ramming.
For the Philippine Coast Guard, China's latest aggression is an overkill and the first time that a Chinese Navy vessel chased a Philippine boat. The PCG is still assessing the damage the ramming incident had on BFAR vessels. Together with the NMC, it will also coordinate with the Department of Foreign Affairs for possible compensation from China. No Filipino personnel was hurt from the encounters at sea, but Manila and Beijing have started trading accusations. The China Coast Guard claimed it was Filipino ships that dangerously approached its vessels. It also warned Manila to immediately halt its infringements, provocations, and inflammatory actions. If the Philippines does not stand down, the CCG said the country will be held accountable for all consequences arising from such behavior. Mobile journalist Kyla Macantan, we are One News.
Now, National Security Council Assistant Director General Jonathan Malaya has dismissed China's claim that a Philippine vessel dangerously approached their ship. He says it is an attempt to change the narrative.
What exactly transpired or what happened at Bajo de Masinloc? And it's not only BFAR vessel BRP Datu Pagbuaya that was involved in this encounter, but two other Philippine vessels. Is that correct? What is the story?
That's correct. Our Philippine vessels, both the BFAR and the Philippine Coast Guard, was responding to pleas, was responding to requests for help coming from our Filipino fishermen because there was reports of harassment of our fishermen in that area. So immediately we deployed the BFAR and the Coast Guard vessels there. And it was our intent to resupply these Philippine vessels, the Filipino fishermen, so that they can undo their fishing for a prolonged period of time. But unfortunately, both BFAR and PCG vessels, in particular, Datu Pagbuaya, and the Philippine Coast Guard vessel, in particular BRP Teresa Magbandua, the Bandua was blocked and shadowed by a plan or People's Liberation Army Navy ship, while the Datu Pagbuaya was twice water cannoned and sideswept by CCG 3302.
ADG, as we know, it's always he said, she said when it comes to this encounters with China. And they are saying, of course, by they, I mean China, says it was a smaller boat of the Philippines that dangerously approached its vessel. What do you make of that? And again, what are you hearing from the crew, the members, the people on the BFAR ship?
Well, this is again typical Chinese disinformation, fake news, trying to change the narrative by claiming that it's the Philippines that infringed on their sovereignty. Again, claiming that the Philippines was the one that provoked this incident, or again claiming that the Philippines was the one that created the conditions upon which this incident happened. When in fact, we have showed videos and photos, as you can see right in front of you, that it was the Chinese vessels that did dangerous and aggressive maneuvers and did water cannon and swept or rammed our vessels. Let me just emphasize that China has no legal right to bahod the Masinloc. BDM is Philippine territory. As such, it has a 10 nautical miles territorial sea, and this is clearly stated in the Philippine Maritime Zones law, the 2016 arbitral ruling, as well as UNCLOS. So again, we should not, the Filipino people should not believe in what the PRC is saying, because time and time again, they have shown that many of what they're saying are not entirely true.
Well, President Bongbong Marcos reminded soldiers to be loyal to the Constitution. He said this during his speech in the oath-taking ceremony of 37 newly promoted generals and flag officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. PBBM said the AFP should prioritize protecting our sovereignty and helping the public during disaster events. The president made this remark weeks after former President Rodrigo Duterte told the AFP to fix the fractured governance of the Marcos administration. We'll be back with more stories after this break. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Pauline Verzosa. Now for the weather, it could be a rainy Thursday for some areas in Luzon. The shear line continues to bring scattered rains in northern Luzon, and affected areas include Cordillera, Ilocos Norte, and Cagayan Valley. The northeast monsoon or amihan will also trigger rains or light rains over Batanes. Metro Manila may also experience rains due to localized thunderstorms. South Koreans staged a rally in Seoul last night to call for the resignation of their president, Yoon Suk-yeol. Protesters emphasized that Yoon and his ministers should leave their posts after the shocking and short-lived martial law in the country. Yoon lifted the military ruling after the country's 190 lawmakers voted it down and called it invalid. Opposition parties have already submitted a motion to impeach Yoon. Meanwhile, Russia claimed that it had seized 2 more settlements in Ukraine for the past 24 hours. The Russian Defense Ministry said that its forces launched strikes on Ukraine's military-industrial enterprises, airfield infrastructure, and manpower and equipment concentration areas. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the overall situation on the front line remained intense. The Ukrainian army reported that their force engaged in over 100 fights with Russian forces. A helmet has been proven useful for the safety of motorcycle riders. But what if it can also detect alcohol consumption? Para bigyan ng mukha ang balita, Mobile Journal, Ivan Tarinque.
Proteksyon sa ulo at buhay ng rider ang kanilang helmet. Pero ang helmet na nakasanayan, may kaya pang level up sa safety measures gamit ang AI. Halos araw-araw may ganitong eksena sa lansangan. Mga motorsiklong nadudawid sa iba't ibang aksidente sa daan sa talangan ng MMDA. May 31,000 motorcycle incidents ang nangyari noong 2023. Kaya ito ang naistubunan sa imbensyon ng mga estudyante mula Lana National High School sa Isabela.
Kita po namin yung alarming number of accidents po sa Pilipinas, not only in our province sa Isabela, but also in the country.
Gumawa sila ng AI-powered smart helmet na may advanced features. May sensors ito na kaya ma-detect kung ang rider na may suot ito ay inaantok, lasing, o lumalampas sa ligtas na bilis ng takbo. Ang accident tracking system nito, otomatiko magpapadala ng emergency notifications kapag may matinding impact ang helmet. Mayroon din itong breathalyzer.
Kapag di-trigger yung sensor namin, maglalak po yung engine ng motor. Hindi siya basta-basta mag-aandar. So, kailangan hindi siya talaga lasing.
Layunin daw ng mga estudyante gawing mas compact ang teknolohiya. Kaya naman, nakapag-uwi sila ng Silver Prize Award sa 2024 Seoul International Invention Fair sa Korea. Ang prototype nila, compatible rin sa kahit anong modelo ng helmet.
Kung ano yung helmet na gamit mo, pwede pong ilagay yun. Anything na model ng helmet, ready to install lang po siya.
Simple lang naman ang gusto natin. Safe na biyahe para sa lahat. At katawa at teknolohiya, kaya raw na makapagsagip ng buhay basta't sasamahan ng disiplina ang ating mga ginagawa. Mobile Journal, Ivan Tarinque po, hatid ang muka ng balita.
And those are the top stories of the hour. I'm Pauline Verzosa. We are One News.